Hello, everybody, and welcome into Perspectives, the home edition. I'm Sam Jones. It's good to have you in my dining room where we do these things these days. No, we're not eating today, but there are a couple of things I do want to pass along. Probably before this day's out, you'll want to go somewhere and eat. We're taping this on Thursday, November 4th. And the reason I wanted to date it is I came across a saying from Will Rogers that is so apropos. I mean, you know what's not going on in Washington. This is what Will Rogers had to say back in 1922, and I quote, "Now, when they get the Constitution all fixed up, they're going to start in on the 10 Commandments, just as soon as they can find somebody in Washington who's read them," end quote. Oh my, what a mess. Anyway, our first guest today is Danielle Hovenga. And Danielle, it's good to have you with us.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for having me.
You are with New Hope, Oklahoma. In fact,
Yes,
you're the
that's
executive
right.
director. And when I first heard about this program, I was astounded. I'll let you explain what it's about.
Thank you. Yes, I'm with New Hope, Oklahoma, and our mission is to end generational incarceration one child at a time. And we do that in a number of ways. We have some educational enrichment opportunities, like after school programs happening in our local schools. We have summer camps, residential sleepaway camps, and day camps available for students. And we also do some outreach, advocacy, education with our local schools and community partners that are serving the youth.
Okay, now I want to zero in very, very tight for just a moment. We're talking about youngsters whose parent or parents might be incarcerated in jail or in prison. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes. You might have heard the statistics about how Oklahoma incarcerates more men and women almost than any other state in the country. And in fact, we are way up there in the world ranking, a ranking you don't want to be at the top of the list for. And if you think about those statistics, on the flip side of that, on the other side, are the children that are left behind when those folks are incarcerated. We estimate on any given day there's about 26,000 children in Oklahoma that are impacted by the incarceration of a parent.
You know, my wife and I drove over to one of the local barbecue places a few nights ago to get some sliced brisket. And she pointed out to me that there was a gentleman in there wearing an ankle bracelet. And I thought to myself, first of all, I'd never seen one in public anywhere on anybody. But along with this gentleman was a wife and two small children. To watch this family together, you would never know there was a pending problem. But it was pretty plain that from time to time, there was a story about that family that we'll never know. And he was wearing that ankle bracelet because of pending litigation. It really has to break your heart with all of the stories that you hear from the different families. That I'm assuming causes you to focus more on the child. Am I correct?
You are correct, and you're right. It is heart-wrenching when we hear the stories of our clients. Our program exists to provide supports primarily to youth, but we also have some supports left that we offer for the caregivers that are providing care for the youth while the parent is incarcerated. And oftentimes that could be the other parent, the mom or the dad. That sometimes it's a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle that's the caregiver. Sometimes it could be a community friend. We know that less than 10% of these youth with an incarcerated parent ever enter the child welfare system. And so most likely they are staying with another family member or a family friend. And our program is here to just offer those social emotional supports and other wraparound services, such as food supports, case management, if we can connect them to resources for clothing, help them connect with medical providers, things like that.
Do you have enough, and I don't mean this in any insulting way, but do you have enough staff to work with these children individually, or do you take them as a group?
Most often we work with them in a group setting. And we do that by working closely with local schools and large community partners that serve youth. And come into those schools, we'll hire qualified staff from within those facilities, train them in our curriculum, provide them with the resources that they need and volunteers to work with the youth in their buildings that would qualify for our services. But to be honest with you, Sam, if we're talking about 26,000 children on any given day, the need is so great for more programming like ours. And we would definitely benefit from being able to grow.
Let's talk a little bit, if we could, Danielle, about the nuts and bolts of how it works. Let's say it's Monday morning. How do they notify you, or do you have a system that you check, a set of traps that you run every day?
Do you mean as far as identifying the children?
Yeah, as far as finding out if there's a child out there that you need to get in contact with, and then how do you do it?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Sam. It is tricky in our state. We don't have an efficient system or even a database that tracks the children of the incarcerated. It's not a box you check when you enroll into school. It's not even a box that's checked when people become incarcerated. And so we're often finding out through referrals, through our school partners and community partners, when the issue is self-reported at school. Sometimes, unfortunately, the youth that we serve tend to be the kids that have more emotional or behavioral outbursts that lead them to be visiting the counselors or school administrators, and it later comes out, yes, recently this child's mother or father was incarcerated, and that's causing some disruption. We also visit frequently with our school partners and community partners, reminding them of the services that we offer. And when we can, we're out there at back to school nights and at community events, advertising about our program and handing out brochures and information. So it's word of mouth and referrals until our state figures out a way to maybe be more efficient in making referrals directly.
Well, good luck to that. Efficiency in state government? Nah. I'll say that. You don't have to. We only have about 3 minutes. I would like to get into another area that about your organization, about New Hope. Now, you are a 501c3, are you not?
That's correct. Yes, we became a 501c3 in about 2007.
So I'm assuming, and I use that word a lot at my age, I'm assuming that there is always a need for funds. Let's say there's somebody out there or some organization out there interested in supporting your group financially. How do they go about it?
Oh, well, we would welcome engagement with anyone interested in learning more or contributing to our organization by visiting our website at www.newhopeoklahoma.org, and that's all together, New Hope, Oklahoma.
Put it up there again. Say it one more time, and I think Emily, our magic finger director producer, will try and get that on the screen a little bit later.
It's www.newhopeoklahoma.org.
Just got to ask this question before I let you slip out of here. Can you give me a ballpark, and I don't want to put your feet to the fire, but can you give me a ballpark idea as to maybe how many children you've helped so far?
Well, on an annual basis, in non-COVID pandemic time, we're serving 600 or 700 children a year.
Holy Toledo. And you've been in operation for how long?
So it started as a ministry of the Episcopal Church here in Oklahoma in 1992. So we've been around for a while, but we officially became our own nonprofit in 2007.
Well, I have to tell you, Danielle, first of all, I'm impressed. And it takes a lot to move a guy like me by what your goals are, what you recognize as a serious problem in Oklahoma. Thank you for tackling it. And my thanks to your organization. If there's anything we can do down the road, please feel free to get in touch with Emily, our director producer. And Emily Spivey is one of the finest people I've worked with in many, many years. And she'll pass it along and we'll try to set something up to do a little something extra for you. Is that okay?
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for the job you're doing. We appreciate you coming in. We're all out of time. So I'm going to let you skedaddle because I know you've got a full plate today. But Danielle, thanks again for coming by.
Thank you very much, Sam.
All right. We're going to take a short break, folks. We'll be back and I'm going to take you fishing right after this.